Hello, everyone. Mackie here, and welcome to the Mid-Season Madness recap show. This is day 9 of our coverage, and I will tell you one thing: it is epic. It is absolutely epic. It is one of the greatest ever days of League of Legends we have ever witnessed, and it all thanks to one team and one team over doing something that any team has never done in history, to do something that is going to be echoed for the rest of their lives. And I believe a specific player is going to get the love and the apologies that they deserve. And I think we all know what that means. And normally I will start from here. But you know my stick already. I will like to start from the low end and then raise it up times 10. So we're going to kick off the recap with a pretty much a sadder note. The saddening of the Team Secret Whales, who put up a great fight, who did well against LYON, especially in game one. And they were right there with LYON throughout like 25, 30 minutes. But then came the Baron Steel, which Hitsto did not do well as much in the Baron Steel. And then, of course, they lost the game. And then the entire thing snowballed from there. This is such a painful series for Team Secret Wells. Now listen. You should say with your chest that this is an historic MSI, and I do not want anything to take care of it. Yes, I get they'll be a fraudulent top esports team, who, by the way, decided to trade in their support for God's sakes, which makes it so unbelievably sad. Like, if you're a top esports fan, why are you even supporting this team? They're now chokers, and also now they decided to trade in their really good support player for an average one. In order for what? To make your team like 10% better? Shame on you, man. Shame on you. But regardless, I'm not gonna let that thing take away from what Team Secret Wells have done in this tournament. And for that, they can hold their heads up high. They can know that they have conquered LPL for the first time in their Vietnamese lives. And for that, we thank you. But unfortunately, this series was sad. Was absolutely sad. Especially game 2 and 3 was not great. But I would like to give credit where credit is due, and it's Dokla. Dokla did not have a great game one, in my opinion, in their opinions, of course. But you know about Dokla in his entire history is that, yes, Dokla may not be the most dominant player in all of LCS and probably in the world, but he, of course, posted a lot of, you know, content, which is great for people personality. He's a great guy, and also has some great performances, like decent good performances. And games 2 and 3 on Nar and Jace show us why he's the most solid, rock steady top laner you can ever have. He may not gonna win you a lot in terms of brilliant international performances, but he can actually give you that rock solid 7 out of 10 performance, which is great. Which is pretty much like it showcased how good Dokla is. So let me just look at the statistics. Berserker, who by the way was brilliant, of course. 5-0-7 on the Israel with a perfect KDA, 92 kill participation, 27.8k damage. Dokla in games 2 and 3 was impressive. First on the Nar, game 2, 4-0-5, perfect KDA, 56 kill participation, and 24.9k damage. And then on the Jays, 5-2-7, 6 KDA, 71 kill participation, 30.6k damage. 3 stars of the series, Dokla was amazing, 12, 6, and 18 with 5 KDA, 65 kill participation, and 71.3k damage. Then Al's 0635, 5.8 KDA, 76 kill participation, and 20k damage. And Inspired 8, 5, and 22, 6 KDA, 65 kill participation, and 33.3k damage. My team of the series sadly was Pun, who was brilliant. Who was brilliant against top esports. But he was just got outclassed by Dokla. Outclassed is a perfectly appropriate word for that. 6, 12, and 9, 1.3 KDA, 54 kill participation, and 38.5k damage. It was not a great series from him. And unfortunately for Team Secret Wells, they ended on a whimper. So, to be honest, I don't think I have anything to say about this series other than congratulations, LYON. You just get yourself the freest top 4 ever because you beat Furia and then you got, I think you beat Furia. You got crushed by BLG. Although I would like to say that I think BLG has been a little bit fraudulent in this MSI so far. And I'm not saying you're going to beat the BLG, but the way you've been playing, you played your style of play, I do not think it'll be good enough to beat a BLG. But I think BLG are kind of beatable, and we'll get to that later. But of course, you lost to BLG, and then you got the freest win against not top esports, but then Team Secret Wales, who actually beat top esports. I'm not saying that if LYON would have beat top esports, it would have been different, and that would be great for North America finally being an LPL team. But it is what it is. You just get handed to you by free, and you gotta take it. You gotta take what the game gives you, and it gives you Team Secret Wales, and you did well. So I got literally nothing much to say about this series, ladies and gentlemen, other than LYON go through 3-0, and it will meet the winner of the next series I want to talk about. And ladies and gentlemen, this next series I'm about to talk about is going to be the most epic thing that I have witnessed in my entire life of watching League of Legends for the last, you could say, 7 years. Now I'm going to go into my wallpaper and to pretty much show you why is this so important? Why is this moment so important? Before G2 versus T1, history has not been kind for T1 in any case. In fact, the last time G2 has beaten T1 was 2,439 days. Since World Semifinals 2019 in LEC Studios, actually Madrid. It was Madrid. I think Dracos called that game, by the way, and Dracos was in the studio, by the way, for the tournament. But it was Madrid when they took down G2 with Perks and Caps and Yankos and Wonder and Mickey X, and it was the greatest ever G2 team ever assembled up to that point. And many people, including myself, must be thinking to myself that we will never get a 2019 G2. We will never get a 2019 G2. And that's fine, because a performance like this, a team like this, only comes once in every a full moon. And you better enjoy this, because you may not have another team like this ever again. I think Western fans will enjoy 2019 as much as everybody else. But right now, right effing now, 2026 G2 is giving you 2019 G2 vibes. And listen, everybody was saying, while first stand against Gen G was one of my favorite moments in League of Legends this year, and rightfully so, because of not only beating Gen G, which is impressive, but the manner in which they beat them, the absolute destruction, the fact that they beat them 3-0 was incredible for them, and it will live on and be echo in the L's of so many Western League of Legends fans, LEC fans from across the globe, not just in Europe, but across the globe, knowing that they have been the ones that take down the favorites to win this tournament, and it was great. Although it didn't win the tournament, by the way, in first stand, that was BLG, of course. That 3-0 victory, and also the 3-0 victory against FearX. I know FearX is not a strong team, but that conquering of FearX and conquering of Gen G, it's just going to say, damn. G2 has been restored after so many years, after so much development, patience, and time. They have delivered. And then, of course, coming to MSI, they were coming in as, let's just say, the 5th best team in the tournament, of course, in many cases. Then they had that series against Top Esports, which, by the way, I'm going to look at it again, in which they were not so great in the first 2 games. And don't worry, guys, I will set it up. I call it like a setup, of course. You already know what I mean. So their first series was against Top Esports, and it was rough in the early going. But of course, Top Esports in Top Esports fashion did not perform well and collapse. And of course, the crab incident by TN. Cavs was brilliant in game 3, and then Skumon and Cavs once again put up a show and won game 4 and 5. And then G2 made an incredible reverse sweep. Cool. And then they face off against Honda Life Esports. And to be fair, they were shellacked. It was not even a close series. Zeus Gumayuchi, the light was absolutely on point. G2 never stand a chance. The draft was fine. I think I saw like the Warrior trying to face off against Abessa. The drafting was fine. It's just the execution and how you try to play against a Hololive Esports team. Trying to imitate the Hololive Esports style was never going to work. Was never going to work under any circumstances. So, when T1 beat Furia and sets up G2 versus T1 with all the history, all the days that G2 has never won against T1, and the fact that they're playing in Daejeon in T1's hometown with the aura and the magnificence of this T1 team. That yes, while T1 has not performed great at MSI with some of the players being shaky and all kinds of stuff, and Pays put up an incredible clinic, of course, in this entire tournament, it's the name, it's the aura, it's the brand that you have to conquer in order to do that. It's like beating Brazil. It's like, yes, Brazil have not been great most of the times, especially in the last couple of years, but beating Brazil and doing against Brazil, it's something that is going to be talked about for years and years and years to come. The same with Norway, of course, doing that against Brazil. Mostly Erd Halan, but still, the great performance by Norway should never be talked about. And it should be talked about, of course. So, I did not get to catch the series live. That's the sad part. I did not get to catch the series live. But I did watch the highlights. And I did watch Nymaera's reaction with Initialize, by the way. And I watched and I listened to the podcast. And I think they have the Mind the Gap podcast, but I haven't listened to. But I'm gonna. And then we all have the same feeling. The same feeling that we have after that series. Which is the one thing that we have all. Let me just rephrase. We all have the same feeling. We all have the same feeling after this series. That everybody must be thinking T1's going to win this series. They're going to dominate the series, and it is what it is. It's a T1 BS magic that will come again. But you know what? T1 went to Daejeon and slayed the demons. And no, we are not talking about Demon Slayers, Tanjiro, and Nezuka kind of Demon Slayers. No. We're not talking about that Demon Slayers. We're talking about actual freaking Demon Slayer. And Tanjiro Kamondo is in the form of Mr. Broken Blade. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. I know this is just a bunch of numbers. I know this is just a bunch of random stats. But this is the hanging in the Louvre being secured by armed forces kind of series, ladies and gentlemen. It is brilliant. It is absolutely unbelievable that I just get to witness with my own two eyes the incredible magnitude of this series. The incredible feeling, of course. This is the first time since 2019. 7 long years. Yes, by the way, Medic called that game. 7 long years since G2 did this against T1. They did this in freaking Daejeon, for God's sakes. Silence the crowd. Like, I cannot believe they actually pulled it off. And this was a Broken Blade series. This was literally a Broken Blade series to a T. To a T. Now, in case many people do not know, of course, that I did stars and team moves. In case I will star a player who perform well, and I team with a player who doesn't do well. And I have done a lot on Broken Blade. Sometimes he may perform incredibly well, and sometimes he may be performing badly. Like the Shen game was great, and there's other games that he just does not do well. And especially international tournaments, he has been kind of okay-ish, which, by the way, the one that I remember, of course, was when he did the Darius Red Wedding kind of series against Furia, like a long time ago, in which he was fine. But we never get to see Broken Blade having a series of a lifetime, a legacy series, that many people will be talking about it forever, regardless of what happens if Broken Blade fall off the face of a cliff. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was a Broken Blade series by proxy. By proxy. Let me read you the numbers. And of course, I will break down this entire series, of course. And then, of course, give me my thoughts on how how big is that moment, of course, and what's gonna happen next, and how will G2 perform. We'll listen. We're in full euphoria mode for this segment. So I know if you feel like you don't want to go through all this, you can click off, of course, but I don't care. Let me just enjoy my moment. Just enjoy my moment. Let's go with the numbers. Broken Blade on the Vein. 7, 5, and 9, 3.2 KDA, 62 kill participation, 38.7 k damage. For the Cho'Gath, yes! Cho'Gath, ladies and gentlemen. 5, 0, and 6, perfect KDA, 61 kill participation, and 19.1 k damage. Game 3 was the pace show, of course. On the Xayah, 13, 4, 7, 5 KDA, 74 kill participation, and 40.8 k damage. And then on the Kled, who, by the way, he has not lost as Kled this year. Yes, Broken Blade on Kled has not even lost a game. And the only 2 times I remember is this game and a one against in LEC Versus against Carmine Corp in the finals. And both times were like Broken Blade on the base. Literally Broken Blade on the base. Unbelievable, man. 15, 5, and 7, 4.4 KD, 81 kill participation, and 39.k damage. Broken Blade with a 32, 18, 25 with a 3.2 KDA, 64 kill participation, 117.4 k damage. Labrov 3, 22, 58. I think he was brilliant. I think you can see, yes, Broken Blade gets all the flowers, but I think Labrov did okay. 28, 2. No, Labrov did great. Labrov did great, especially that Leona stun onto the Camille when he was Jarvan ulted, of course. That was an incredible play. That was an important play. But he was brilliant. He was actually good, especially the Bard play in game 2, of course. 69 kill participation and 31.2 k damage. Caps did okay, of course. He was not bad. 21, 15, and 35, 3.7 KDA, 63 kill participation, and 135.2 k damage. Now, I was thinking I would not even give a T1 member, of course, the team of the series, but I'm sorry, Doran. You earned that right. 15, 27, and 24, 1.4 KDA, 43 kill participation, and 96.1 k damage. And oh my goodness, this was unbelievable. So I would like to go through this entire series, blow by blow, and just talk about the magnitude of this. So game 1, you have to say that this was, I mean, the only way that T1 would have won this game is the Camille Ziggs combo. You lock in with Camille, you Ziggs bomb into their faces, and that was it. That was the only way you're gonna win. And I think you could say that it was a rough time for G2. It was a rough early time for G2, of course. I mean, the game was kind of like even. And it was kind of like in G2's favor. And then it was like the Baron steal, by the way, by Pays, by the way, who I think it was Skillmon did not smite it well. It was more of an error, but did not smite it well, of course. And then, of course, Pays got the steal, of course, and the game went on and on and on. This was insane. Game 4 is where the insanity and the Looney Tunes come in. But Game 1 was absolutely chaotic. And by the way, I mean, listen, we have seen a lot of Vayne top lane performances that was awe-inspiring, like I think of Dokla against Team Liquid, of course, in the playoffs. But this is kind of like right up there. This is literally right up there with one of the best. Okay, not one of the best, but one of the most impactful. The way he glides. And listen, Caps did okay. I mean, Caps did not do bad as well with the Nivea walls and the gliding and all kinds of stuff. And the way he kills other people, like, unbelievable. And of course, as I mentioned, Labrov have a hand to it as well. With the stun, and of course he died, but he got a stun of the Camille. Pays did not get much of the ult. Broken Blade was glided in. They were actually doing damage, and oh my goodness gracious. And then G2 won game 1. G2 won game 1 from, like, basically out of nowhere. Because if you learn about T1, once T1 gets to here, the T1 BS magic is going to continue and ride it out until victory. The fact G2 just have the mental fortitude, and I think that's the one important thing about G2. Yes, you can call it about the draft and all kinds of stuff, but the mental fortitude. To know that, yes, the things were getting rough, but they have always found a way to claw back into their deficit. And it's just absolutely brilliant. And that game 1 was a brilliant mental fortitude game from G2 and a masterclass. And then game 2 was magnificent. The Labrov performance was good, but the Cho'Gath, man, that Cho'Gath. Woo! You stack Cho'Gath with Heartsteel with End in Despair and with Fawn, good night. Good night, Irene. Doesn't matter how much Pace can do on the Mel. Doesn't matter how good Faker is, or even Owner, of course. And by the way, he just absolutely countered Yorick. Like, look at Doran. He did not have a great game, to be honest. 0-6-0 on the Yorick. He can't even know how to split push. It's just wild. Absolutely wild. And this Choga just absolutely neutralized the entire T1 Cup. Once he got to stacks, once he got beefy, and also, by the way, one of the biggest plays, of course, was when there was a fight in the mid lane, and then, of course, Syndra grabbed one of the ghouls or one of the minions from the ghoul, and he yeeted out. And then, of course, the Rift Herald battles in, charges into the mid lane, and while Yorick trying to get to the wall, Doran trying to get to the wall, he kind of like have a little oopsie, of course, in the wall, and it caused the entire cataclysm, of course. And then the entire thing snowballed. Pace die, of course, Owner kind of dies, and then the entire game went hell in a handbasket. And this was a back and forth game until it wasn't. And at this point, at 2-0 down, and listen, I'll go to game 3. I will talk about game 3. But at this point, at 2-0 down, and G2 were just dominating and cruising, and just, yes, T1's draft was the best draft we ever seen from the entirety of the game. But at the start of it, I was thinking for myself, oh my god, G2 might done it. G2 might done it. Look at this kind of situation. G2 might done it. G2 might have to pull something off. I mean, look at this. Even the goal lead. Look at the goal lead. A 3,000 goal lead. They were into the game. It was a little back and forth, of course. And then you're thinking to yourself, okay, Akeem, you're in a great spot. G2 are in a great spot right now. As long as someone do not int, we are Caps die twice. Caps die twice. T1 gets Infernal Dragon, and then T1 gets Baron Nashor, and then the game ends. And let's be honest. Pace on 80 carries is a godsend. Pace on 80 carries. Unlike the Mel game and the Ziggs game that he did well, he's really good at 80 carries. It's just amazing. It just blows my mind that Pace is a really good 80 carry player who can actually play some normal 80 carries and not the mages. Who knew? Who knew? Like, I don't know about anything about drafts and anything like that, but I will tell you one thing. The drafting is just all over the place. The coordination, the way they play, it's just all over the place. But this game was probably the best normal-looking draft we have seen from T1. Probably all series. And then, of course, mostly because of G2, being in a little bit so badly, and Caps dying twice and caused them to lose a game. And then game 3, after they lost to game 3, I was thinking to myself, okay, if you're a G2, you need to mentally reset. If you're a G2, you need to mentally reset. You cannot let game 3 happen to go downhill from game 4 to onwards. And then guess what? Caitlyn Lux got picked, and then bot lane got absolutely destroyed, mid lane got destroyed, top lane got destroyed, and in game 4, it started off rough. Like, yes, I will go dictate the game, but game 4 was rough. Absolutely rough. And listen, let's be honest. Gotta give love to Pace, man. Gotta give love to Pace. He tried his damnest to drag G2 to win, to drag T1 to win the game. He got a pentakill, by the way. 16 pentakills in his career. The most by any player all time. Imagine you got 16 pentakills and it doesn't even matter. That's rough, even for Pace. That is rough. But once again, it comes back to saying that the draft for T1 has been pretty much good. It looks good, but it doesn't do well. It doesn't mesh, to be honest. But if we start about the early days of game 4, it was rough. I mean, T1 just dominated. It was a 4K goal lead. At the time. I was thinking to myself, G2 are cooked. Mentally, they look cooked. And then Broken Blade happens. And then Broken Blade on Clid of all champions happened. He just keep killing and killing and killing and spamming and do 1v2s, 1v3s. He was amazing. He was amazing. And he literally dragged G2 out of it. Because let's be honest, Hans Sama did not have a great game, to be honest. Labrov was good, especially picking out the Pays, of course, when Pays going around after they're trying to kill Caps with a long, long, long runway. That was huge. Skuman was okay, but he was not great. But this was a broken blade game. This was a broken blade game for the ages. For the ages. Was a listen, let's be honest. This was I think you can say that BLGT1 was a good series, but it more like drafting problems is the reason why this series is not good. This was a really good series. This was a really good series because of the historicalness and the fact that this G2 team done it. And the fact that Broken Blade done it. Broken Blade from TSM, mind you. TSM! It's incredible. It's unbelievably incredible. And for that, I like to apologize to Broken Blade for having a really bad international performances sometimes. And I think the rest of the Broken Blade apologists will have to agree with me because I was never familiar with your game at all throughout your entire career. And then this happens. This happens. And it was incredible. And even the ending. Like the ending in which like T1 get all G2 get all the inhibitors. Then they're trying to break into Nexus turrets. But you have that feeling of like, oh geez, okay. Play it slow, play it slow, play it slow. You know what? You know what? I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea. I have an idea. We're gonna have. I think this ending, this ending is going to be dictated by Nymaera and Initialize. By the way, the both LPL casters and brothers. By the way, and I think I'm gonna let them. I'm gonna let them enjoy this moment because, by the way, they're in London. By the way, this tournament was happening in London. So yeah, I am going to let their reaction be my reaction. So I'm gonna let the we're gonna so we're gonna go through the finish. We're gonna okay. How about this? We're gonna allow them. Okay, this is gonna be me reacting to Nymaera and Initialize reacting to the end of the series. Okay, I'm gonna let their reaction speak to myself to say how incredible and how amazing this series is. So I'm gonna play back and let you go on in the way. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. One more time. Press play. Okay. Okay. No. Mm. Well, actually, Initialize, not much King of the Rest. I think many people said, like, Wonder was best. But I have to say, man, Broken Blade has redeemed himself so much so. And if we look, by the way, of Broken Blade's entire career arc, and yes, I am doing the more glowing on G2 a little bit more. You got to say that Broken Blade doesn't have a moment like this. Like, let's be honest. I don't. I think Broken Blade is a fine player, to be honest. He's a good player, but he never have a series that makes you feel like, oh my god, he is him. He is him. And then this series happened. This series happened, and oh my god, it's just unbelievable. Just look at this. Just look at it. Let's look at his career. Let's look at his career most of the times. This was a young guy. Look at him. 2019 spring, for God's sakes. And then you look at over the years in the disaster 2020 Worlds, of course, in which he was involved in the 06 team. Then it was in the Schalke team. I think it was in the Schalke team that was part of the Miracle Run in 2021. No, I think it was 2020. The 2020 was the Miracle Run, of course. That was not Broken Blade. Then it was the 2020, of course, and then he has been in G2 for 4 years now. Look at him, from 4 years now. And this is 2023, by the way. I don't think they have no more photos, of course, but the guy has been there for 4 years. And he has some performances. He has some good performances, of course, especially this MSI. He doesn't have a great performance, but he never have a performance that makes you say, my God, you have redeemed. You have earned yourself legendary status. Kind of like when Perks did it against RNG in 2018. Kind of like what Caps did against T1 in 2019. Broken Blade have his legendary status in 2026 against T1. And this series and this performance with the Clid is going to go down in infamy. What a performance. What a performance by Broken Blade. Hats off to him. Hats off to the entire G2 staff, because let's be honest, this entire series was a G2 drafting masterclass from, Dylan Falco and the rest of the crew. And listen, Pays deserve a lot of love. Pays was brilliant in the last 2 games, but it just feels like he wasn't enough. He wasn't enough. Kerry, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but he was bad. If you'd have told me that Labrov was worse than Kyria, I would have actually. If you would have told me that Kyria would have been worse than Labrov, I would have just say you are an idiot and you need to be cut off. And not only that, it's true, but it's my God, Kyria made decent plays. Caps was fine. He was good in most cases, but Skewman was okay. Skewman was okay. It was not his best performance, but then again, after what happened in the first stand, it was the drop off had to be embedded. But this is Broken Blade, man. And even the Yasuo game was fine. He was good. He was decent in Yasuo, except of course the whole team inted and it was bad. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. My God Almighty! Listen, I have to say, man, if you are a G2 fan today, many people will say that the Gen G performance was one of the best in G2 this year. This is your best performance of 2026 by a country mile. To go to Daejeon, to go to T1's hometown, and to beat them, and convincingly beat them. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for the intent, of course, but Caps, it could have been 3-0. It could have been 3-0. And by the way, that's never happened to T1 ever. And also, T1 for the first time ever have not made it top 4 in a national event. Unreal that G2 did this. It's just unreal. Absolutely speechless. I am absolutely speechless about this. Just absolutely speechless about this. Now, listen, I'm going to turn on the lights and then just talk about the rest of the series more, and the impact is going to happen. So, let's be brutally honest here. I think if we look at the MSI tournament so far, and yes, I will get to Honor Life Esports and BLG before I'm going to leave out. I think right now, G2 have a case to make top 3. I didn't have a case to make top 3. Maybe, and I said maybe, if all the cards go right, if BLG were to lose to Honda Life Esports, maybe make finals. Maybe make finals. This will be the crime of the century if G2 did all of this, and still lose the LYON. Still lose the LYON. It would be the most G2 thing for them to beat T1, but also lose to North America. Especially that LYON team that has been, let's be honest, we're given Furia, BLG, who looks shaky, and then against Team Secret Wells. Like, fine, top 4, but it's just not the kind of opponents that they have, like, your G2 over Honda Life Esports. Honda Life Esports crushed them. But G2 Honda Life Esports and your T1, of course, in the world. And yeah, and then top esports, of course, when they have to reverse sweep to get there. It's not as highly calibrated as the other rest of the opponents. And this slow play style from LYON is going to get punished by any team. It doesn't matter, even if it's G2 maybe into sometimes, their playstyle, their quick thinking, and of course their unique drive is going to send LYON to a wall. And it's not going to look good for them. It is not looking good for them. And then if G2 were to face off against BLG, great. They have a chance. If they face Honda Life Esports, yeah, top 3. Which, by the way, I think if you're a G2 fan, and I think going into this tournament, I think top 3, top 4 is kind of like the likeliest outcome. But no one, and I mean no one, is expecting them to beat T1. I get T1 is shaky. I get T1 is not looking great. But no one in their right mind is really thinking you're going to beat T1. Not even me. Not even me coming to this series. And fair play to them. They have earned everything from this series and then some. What a performance. What a performance. What a day. What a day. What an historic day for League of Legends. 7 years since the greatest G2 team ever. Now this team has done it. And I'm not saying that winning an MSI. Listen, just like Chris Greeley said in his interview piece in RFT.GG, I do not think that winning MSI is going to make them as popular as they already are. I think this performance with T1 and the performances against the LCK teams in First Stand is going to feed families for the rest of the year. Regardless of what happened at Worlds, although you can say that Worlds is more important, these performances are going to make everybody in LEC must be thinking to themselves, you know what? I think the rest of the teams are not good. Maybe I can support G2 now. Because Kamai Corp cannot do it, and even MKOI themselves and the Mad Lions cannot even do it. But G2 can. And it's a credit to the coaching staff, it's a credit to Rodrigo and all the other people for preparing them, for having the mental fortitude to do everything they can, and for the players to actually play well. And it's incredible. It's an incredible performance, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of G2. I'm proud of G2 for not only making this tournament fun, because right now, as you can see, number 1 seed in LEC, number 1 seed in LCS, number 1 seed in LPL and LCK. This is the first time that we have 4 different regions in a double elimination bracket at MSI. Like, I get MSI 2022, but that was a different kettle of fish. This is done with 2 teams, 2 LCK and 2 LPL teams per region. By the way, 2 teams per region. That is wild. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And man, God, where do we go from here? Where do we absolutely go from here? Where do we go from here from there? Because right now, we got this coming up, of course, way in the wee hours of the morning, and sadly for me, I can't even watch it. But I'll tell you what. After what we witnessed today, sky's the limit. Sky's the freaking limit. I mean, whew. Incredible. Broken Blade, well done. I apologize to you. You deserve your flowers. And, yeah. Incredible. Magnificent. What a day. G2 defeat T1. G2 defeats T1. Now, let's be honest to you. I never got to witness T1 defeat T1 because I was never covering League of Legends as much at the time. Remember, I started watching from our 2019, of course, at the World's Finals, and then I go from there. And then to see G2 take down T1 in Daejeon with my own eyes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is such an unbelievable feeling. I was never expected that to happen, but for me, it's incredible. One of the greatest performances ever, ever by G2. And it may not be like 2019, but my God, it smells like 2019. It smells like 2019. The way they perform at first stand, the way they perform in MSI, it's incredible. I know I've been glazing a lot throughout the next 27 minutes, of course, but I don't care. This historic precedents need to be talked about at length with podcasts and everything like that. But of course, we have to continue to move forward. We got 4 more series to cover, of course, for the next couple of days, and then until the final. And my God, it is something else. So yeah, I will like to I will leave it here, leave the scoreline here, and just watch it one more time and just admired it. Because July 8th, 2026, it's the date that every LEC fan and every Western fan should look at it for the rest of their lives, knowing that G2 Esports conquer the demons in Daejeon. It is incredible. It is incredible. And they deserve all that praise. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please like this video. If you wanted to comment. If you wanted to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. We're close to 100 subscribers, of course. I'll be on my shorts. I'll be on my TikTok, predictions and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I will see you all tomorrow, everyone. Thank you, G2, for giving me such a great day of League of Legends. Thank you so much.